we have a episode of She-Hulk to cover. What was the title of the episode, Mike?
Is this not real magic?
It is, or was, or it's a weird episode. What did you like?
I agree.
Yeah, the pacing was a little strange. The overall concept of it was a little odd. I guess it kind of pushed. There's a narrative of the show that I think that's interesting, or we'll get to in a second, more in a little bit. But it's a very this show, like last show, I felt had so much weird energy. It was funnier. Yeah. It was more kinetic. It was more fast paced. And this episode was kind of like but
this one truly felt all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Last episode felt all over the place.
Visual effects were a little bit better.
Visual effects were much better. Much better.
I mean, she still looked out of place in a few scenes, but
but the date scene and stuff like that worked. I mean, even the fight scene with the weird dogs worked. I mean, I don't know what was the difference between this episode 3, episode 4, but you could tell that they're improving the CGI quite a bit. To the point where I think that at some point they might go back to episode 3 and retouch it up to make it better.
Well, in this episode, Nikki did make a joke that, hey, we've got to get you some new clothes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm wondering if they dropped that in based off of reactions to the last episode. I don't know, that would be some crazy stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But the show is very aware of itself. It was funny when they said that when Tatiana looked at the screen, she's like, okay, you guys are happy that Wong's here. And she was like, Wong is like bulletproof for Twitter fans or something like that. It's like,
right.
It was like, they're very aware that the show is getting criticized by young men in basements, which you can't help but do. But I think our criticisms are more mature and more thought out. 100%.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. We're not just misogynists.
No, we're not misogynists. We're not,
we're not.
Take the just out. Okay. Yeah, take it out.
Yeah, right.
So the premise of the show, there's 2 things going on in the show. The first part is that Jen, the character, wants a date life. She wants to date. And the second part is there's a person named Donny Blaze that
and I see that it's Donny Blaze in the credits, but I swear the whole episode I was hearing Johnny Blaze.
It's definitely Donny Blaze. Hey Mike, do you have IMDb up? Who's the guy's name that played Donny Blaze? What's his name?
Oh man, I don't know if I can pronounce it. It's Reese Corio.
Yeah. He played a very popular character in Entourage. He was one.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Yes, he did.
Entourage.
He played Billy Walsh.
Yes.
Billy Walsh, the director.
Entourage, in retrospect, was a terrible show. But
come on.
But I
love Entourage.
But when you watched it, it was a lot of fun. And Billy Walsh.
It was. It's so fun.
Yeah, he was great. I love him. I wish they did more with him. He's really fun.
He's good at playing that type of character.
Yeah, kind of like just kind of weird jerks. Yeah, I agree. But apparently Donny Blaze at some point went to Kamatage, learned some magic, but then left and took his magic training with him to do like stand up magic, kind of like a stand up musician. And so, of course, hijinks ensue. What did you think about that premise? Like, I feel like it worked or could work, but it was odd. What did you think?
It seemed really weird to me. How'd they let him get away with one of their ring slingers?
Yeah, you would think that Kamatage would stop people who decide not to become mages and just be like, hey, give us
like they had that whole force field around Kamatage during the Doctor Strange movie. You would think like that force field wouldn't allow ring slingers to pass through it unless like
we don't know how the force fields work, but
like something like that. Like they'd have something that would like, oh, you're trying to sneak out a ring slinger? No way.
You make a really good point here. The Kamatage and the mystic arts and all the realm of magic in Doctor Strange 1 and Doctor Strange and Multiverse is much different here. In the Kamatage stuff here feels like kind of like a joke. It's kind of like making fun of itself. And because it's making fun of itself, there's a lot of plot holes here and there. And that's going to come up. And so like, how is he allowed to even use the magic? How do you keep his sling ring? Stuff like that. But if you take that away and just look at it as a funny episode, it's pretty funny. I think it could have been funnier. I think the hijinks could have been more intense. It was kind of an easy show to produce, but it's clever. Like that one character that I loved. What's his name? Cornelius P. Willows. I just loved him in the back. So like being his little, like as Tatiana called him, his hype man. I thought it was real fun. I kind of want to see these guys again in some form. I really do.
That's not a character from the comics.
No.
Cornelius P. Willows.
He is not. I wish he was. And Donny Blaze is a play on the name Johnny Blaze, and of course Johnny Blaze is the Ghost Rider. So that was pretty neat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Did not know that was the Ghost Rider.
So the original Ghost Rider was Johnny Blaze, and then the second Ghost Rider was Danny something. I forget his name. But there's several different Ghost Riders throughout history, which is fun. Right. You would think at some point that Marvel would make a proper Ghost Rider movie that didn't have Nick Cage in it. But whatever. But they did. There is a Ghost Rider in the MCU. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so technically there is a Ghost Rider in this universe. But anyway. So yeah.
We've got a new character in the MCU.
What's this character's name, Mike?
Madison.
How you spell it?
With 2 N's and a Y, but not where you think it is.
That makes no sense. Like, where would you think the Y
I definitely didn't think it was there.
Like,
I definitely didn't think it was there.
She said in such a weird kind of sexual way, but I'm like, where would the Y be? Like, I don't understand. Super funny, sort of. I don't know what to make of her, to be honest. I like the back and forth between her and Wong or Wongers.
Yeah, Wongers.
I thought that was fun. I thought that overall she was an interesting person to have in the show. But the show is the thing about She-Hulk is that this is a different type of Marvel episodic show that we haven't. Like every other Marvel show, if you think about it, from Miss Marvel to Moon Knight to what's another one? We've had so many. WandaVision to Falcon and Winter Soldier. What's the other ones? There's others, right? I'm missing some.
Yeah.
What are they? Can you?
Man, I can't. If you're missing them, I can't.
Okay. Falcon and Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. What's the other ones? Oh, well, anyway. They all have a similar setup. 6 episodes.
Loki.
What? Loki, yes. So the 6 episode setups, very serious, life or death things, changing the world. And She-Hulk's like,
This is definitely the silliest out of all.
Oh, yeah. And She-Hulk's like, I'm done with all that. Let's just have fun. Let's do something different.
Right.
And I think that's what's causing people to be a little put off by it. Like I saw something on Reddit today and someone posted, enjoy She-Hulk for what it is. And I started thinking about that. And he's like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Like, I gotta quit trying to force She-Hulk to be a show I want it to be. And I need to enjoy it for what it is. Like a show about Jennifer Walters, played by Tatiana, I can't pronounce the last name, about a woman who gains superpowers and has to deal with that in our world, right? And I think that's what it wants to do.
Right.
But I think a lot of us really want it to be something different. Like the people who are watching these Disney Plus shows on the regular basis have preconceived notions and things they want to do with them. And I think this is a show that's just not really trying to do that. So it's interesting.
Right. So our girl Madison, she had some trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened to her?
Donnie sent her into like some demon world, and she had to do lots of stuff to get out of there.
What did she have to do exactly?
She was talking to a goat, like the goat was talking to her, and he made her give her 6 drops of her blood to get out of there. Does that like ring a bell? Is that like a comics reference at all?
It's not a comics reference that I'm aware of. If there is a comics reference, I have to do some really big digging. But there's been like demons.
What about she also had to make a pact with a demon named Jake?
Okay, I don't know if there's a demon named Jake. I know that Cornelius said he knows Jake, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the show really wanted to connect some,
and I'm not sure if that demon named Jake is the same as the talking goat or not. I can't figure that out. Nobody knows.
And if the show really wants to make some strong connections, it would have said, I met a demon named Nightmare, or I met a demon named Mephisto, That would if she would have said Mephisto, that would have made people's heads explode because Mephisto is an actual interdimensional demon that has made enemies with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Does Mephisto look like somebody could think he's a talking goat?
No. But Mephisto, Nightmare, a lot of these people do have shape-shifting, changing abilities, so they could turn to a goat. No, but so I don't think there's any Easter eggs in that. And I don't think there's any places where we can go back to and be like, here it is. I don't think the show was trying to do that. It would have been fun.
Well, there's one reference, but it wasn't a comic book reference.
Yeah, what was the reference?
So when Madison comes in and into Wong's pad, she's saying how she had a beating heart in her hand that she dropped.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know,
Where
man.
Where did she get the heart from?
She had to go through some stuff.
Whose heart is that?
Get out of there.
Yeah, it's like when she had the heart, I was like, what is going on?
That has to do something with that pact she made with Jake the Demon, I guess. I don't know.
I really want them to, at some point, explore this a little further. And to be...
Yeah, do a 15-minute one shot of her.
Yes.
What she had to do to get out.
Or 15-minute little featurettes with Wong and her having to deal with the consequences. That would be super hilarious. It really would be. Who's the actress what's her name that plays Madison?
Patty Guggenheim.
She's really funny. And I like the whole drunk thing. That was really funny.
Yeah, she's convincing.
Yeah, she's been drunk before, the actress. So it's really good. And I kind of at first when I was watching it, I was like, ugh. But I think I was feeling that way because of the pacing. The pacing of the show was weird. It was just plain weird. It was slow.
Yeah, it's definitely a strangely paced show.
Slow in some places, fast in others. Slow in some places. Not a lot of meat to hang on to.
Bouncing around.
Yeah, and there's only two major plot points here that we can really cling to. We've got the magic and the Donny Blaze and stuff, but then we also have another thing, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, I mean, Madison was fun. Her interaction with Wong was fun. Is she going to become a reoccurring character? Maybe. I would like to see her. But again, this show, I don't know what this show's trying to do. I don't think this show's trying to create new characters for the MCU. But I mean, it'd be fun if she showed up again. It'd be pretty hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, the reference was she asks Wong if he's the Goblin King. Mm-hmm. The Goblin King is who David Bowie played in Labyrinth.
Yes. In the Marvel, in the MCU, I'm sorry, in the Marvel comics, there is a character called the Goblin King, but he is not who you think he is. He's actually a character who is sort of a spinoff of the Green Goblin, so it's not the same.
Ah, okay. What about those flying demon critters?
They're just flying demon critters. There's lots of flying demon critters all throughout comics, so it's not. I couldn't see a particular one and be like, that's so and so from so and so and so and so.
Yeah.
What I did find interesting, and this is something I want to talk about more of, in Doctor Strange 1, and also when you look at Doctor Strange 1, and then the Infinity War and Endgame, all the magic that's done by the mages, like Doctor Strange and Wong and others, they only have a certain amount of things they do. They can make these shields, they can make a portal, and they do a couple other things. But when you saw Doctor Strange 2, they pushed themselves to make some more interesting magic. And I thought that was really good for Doctor Strange into multiverse. But then we went back to this episode and we get just portals again. I didn't see any magic that I thought, wow, that's some cool magic. I didn't see any of that. So I just saw, you're making the portal. And
well, hey, one of those portals that Donny Blaze made was horizontal instead of vertical.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
I think that has to be a budget issue, right, Mike? It just has to be they have a budget for a certain thing they can do. They can't do anything crazy.
I think they're probably just trying to make everybody's powers recognizable.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I would if you look at in the comics, there's all sorts of things they do magically. There's never one thing they do. It always changes. And this is kind of I kind of feel like that portal thing's getting kind of stale. I mean, yes, we recognize the portal. It's cool. We see it, but it's getting stale. It's okay, I got the ring, open the portal. I would like to see some cooler things. I mean, and they do have the ability to do those cooler things. We've seen that. I kind of wish they did some more different things.
With the with previously seen on before this episode, I thought for sure Titania was going to be a bigger part of this episode.
They're really teasing this. And I'm not sure why. I mean, we know she's going to show up eventually, but like, okay,
you said she's like a nothing character in the comics, right?
No. She's not a nothing character. She's like a kind of a B-lister that shows up and punches people and then disappears. Like, it's like, you're not like, there's no, people don't have posters of Titania on their wall. Like, yeah, Titania. Like, nobody's excited about that. But maybe they can change that. Maybe they can give her some depth. So I'm curious to see how they go roll that out. Apparently, Titania copyrighted the name She-Hulk before She-Hulk did. So there's
that's my last question. Does that reference anything in the comics?
No, not at all. All this stuff's pretty much new stuff. So like Titania wouldn't even know how to hire a lawyer, let alone. But she does have connections to Doctor Doom. So I don't know if they're going to do that with this show. Maybe they'll. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that'd be kind of cool. But I doubt it. Again, this isn't the kind of show where Loki is trying to make connections and we're seeing some cool things that's for the future. And it's not like this is Miss Marvel, which was, super awesome and making some cool connections, or Moon Knight. This is just like She-Hulk. This is an episodic 30-minute sort of like sitcom show where we have some laughs. But we do have an interesting theme, an interesting plot thread that I'm curious if you're witnessing it. And we got to talk about the second part of the show, which is Jen wants to go on some dates. And so she creates, what's the app? I don't know what the app's called. But she gets online and she starts swiping. And it's just regular Jen now. It's not super She-Hulk Jen. And she can't find a date. She does go on a date and the guy's a jerk. But then she doesn't get any kind of likes, which is, I want to make this clear. That's not realistic. If Tatiana was on any of these apps, guys would be swiping left and right because it's Tatiana, but I guess for the character, it doesn't work. And if you do notice, they are dressing her in a very peculiar way. She's wearing very baggy clothes. She looks small in all her scenes. I think that's interesting.
Well, that's because she's wearing baggy clothes so that when she goes in She-Hulk form, they still fit her.
Yeah, but also, too, I think the show's purposely kind of doing this to sort of, I don't want to say desexualize her, but like not make the Jen's character sexualization as important. Like when Jen turns to She-Hulk, there's a sexualization that occurs, and I think the show kind of hypes that up, especially for this episode, because when she turns into Jen and then puts her face into that swipe thing, she gets a ton of likes, and she says something very interesting. I think she says, it sucks to be Jen, or too bad for Jen. When she started getting
she said this is very dehumanizing for Jen.
Okay, she is Jen. So the fact that as She-Hulk, she refers to her human self as someone different is a clue that the show is trying to work something out. In episode 1, the Bruce Banner was surprised that She-Hulk did not, or Jen did not have multiple personalities. That when she got the gamma radiation from his blood, it didn't cause her to deal with her like psychoses, right? She was just her. That means that maybe she was like emotionally healthy. I think the show is going to slowly build up on this thing where that psychoses, that multiple personality thing, is going to slowly form. Like it's going to cause the fact that she is She-Hulk and then Jen, She-Hulk Jen, is going to cause a schism. So we're witnessing that, I think. And here's another reason why I think that. At the end of the last episode, after she beats up the Wrecking Crew, she looks in the window of a car and looks at her face and is kind of like a little bit sad, a little bit confused. And again, this show's kind of, I think the show's trying to do that. What do you think? Is that an interesting theory? Do you think that pans out?
Is that the thread that you're talking about seeing throughout the episodes?
Yes.
I haven't seen it, and I really hope that doesn't happen. I think I've had my fill of multiple personalities in the MCU for a while.
How many have we had?
Hulk and Moon Knight.
True. Yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, if you're Jen and then she turns to She-Hulk and people treat her differently, she gets more love. Like, it looks like the show is going to kind of show us a place where Jen slowly gets deeper and deeper to the She-Hulk character and maybe loses herself. So
maybe
we haven't seen that yet, but
I don't think it's going to be like a literal split personality or whatever. I think it's going to be more of how she sees herself differently when she's She-Hulk and when she's just Jen.
Not just how she sees herself. Like, she went on this date as She-Hulk. She met this guy. He apparently was very.
That guy was clearly a jerk from the very beginning. Which one? She never should have fallen for his stuff.
What? Okay, the doctor,
the pediatric oncologist.
Okay, what stuff? What stuff did she fall into?
He was clearly like following a list of things that he read on some subreddit of here's what you're supposed to do on a date to trick a woman. That's clearly what he was doing the entire time.
I think he was just being a nice guy. Like, that's how.
No.
Okay, that's an interesting philosophical debate. If you act,
it was so fake.
If you act nice, are you nice? Right? If you do good things, are you good? Or is goodness an intrinsic trait?
No, it's about intent. It's about intent. If you act nice, but your intent isn't to be nice.
So intent,
you're actually being mean.
I don't know. Well, whatever he did, it worked. And like She-Hulk Jen fell for it. Apparently they slept together. I was going to do a whole thing about what that would have been like, but I decided not to. It's like,
we don't need to do that.
I'm sure someone else has done that. But what broke my heart is in the morning when Jen is in human form and she makes him breakfast and he's like, "Who are you?" And then he leaves. Like, did you see her face? It was so subtle. Tatiana is such a great actor. It was so subtle, but she was definitely sad and dejected, right? And like, I just kind of feel like at some point this is going to be building and building. She got this job because of She-Hulk, not because of her. She got this date because of She-Hulk, not because of her. She's able to beat up people, not because of herself, but because she turns into She-Hulk. That's going to cause some mental instability. That's going to cause...
Yeah, she's got to realize that she is She-Hulk, and it's not different people.
Yeah, but it's hard to do, man. You know, it's hard. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's the character growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember that commenter that was like, "Oh, character growth is a must."
Yeah, that's true. But in order to have character growth, we're going to have to see the character struggle, and we're seeing this character struggle in a very unique way. Like, it's this, and like it's a thing that she's having to deal with on her own by herself, and so it's just kind of rough. I think it's going to get worse and worse. I can see a place in this show when she decides not to be She-Hulk anymore. She's like, "I'm sick of this. I do not want to do this anymore." So it's just
Well, I'm tapped out. You got anything else?
Not really. But again,
they're calling the scenes at the end of these shows tags now, I guess.
Yeah, okay. The tag for this one was actually pretty good. That was actually pretty funny.
What was it? To tell us.
Well, it's Madison and Wong kind of just talking about what kind of drinks he has and like their favorite drinks and stuff. But I thought was kind of fun.
Right. Yeah.
I also like the Soprano talk. I kind of like the fact that she ruined Sopranos for him. And did you see he was watching This Is Us in the background?
I don't know what that is.
I guess it's an ABC show. I'm not sure. Disney owns ABC or ABC owns Disney. I don't know how it works. But I thought all the stuff where Wong's just trying to have a normal kind of time watching TV and stuff like that, I thought was pretty good.
Right.
Well, you know what? We didn't even talk about the battle with the demon dogs. I thought the CGI battle was fine, but way better than last episode. Again, they had a lot of these demon dogs that looked pretty good. Her fighting them looked good. The whole thing looked good. It was fast, but the whole thing, like the siege, I don't understand. This is Disney. They don't have a budget. Like, what? Like, you don't have to be like, you have this much money for this episode. Like, they should be like, we don't care how much it costs. Make it look good. Like, I just don't. I don't know. Right. It's just kind of crazy. But anyway,
nothing particularly great with the choreography for that scene.
No, we haven't seen. I don't know if the show wants to do a big, like, awesome, like, in-game battle scene. I don't know if it has it in it. I don't know if it's interested in doing it. But let's have to wait. But I don't know. I don't even know if that's the kind of show we even want to see.
Right.
But no, that's it for me. But I do have some news you can abuse. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because of Love and Thunder coming out on Disney Plus a couple days ago, we have a new MC timeline. Are you ready?
I am. What's the big diff?
The only difference is that Thor: Love and Thunder is so. If you look at I'm going to kind of read it out. So you have. I'm not going to do all of it, but I'll start with Endgame. So
No, you got to start at the very beginning. No,
come on. It's a lot. Okay. All right. You ready?
No,
I'm doing it. Captain America, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor, The Avengers, Thor: Dark World, Iron Man 3, Captain America: The First Avenger, Guardians of the Galaxy, I Am Groot. I Am Groot, The First Steps is right after Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I Am Groot, the Little Guy. I Am Groot, Groot's Pursuit. I Am Groot, Groot Takes a Bath. I Am Groot, Magnum Opus. Avengers.
They got to get rid of that stuff.
Avengers Age of Ultron. Ant-Man, Captain America Civil War, Black Widow, Black Panther, Spider-Man Homecoming, Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Loki, What If, WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Spider-Man Far From Home, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Doctor Strange and Madness of the Multiverse, Multiverse of Madness, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Thor: Love and Thunder. Wait, She-Hulk comes before Miss Marvel. That's interesting. So it's Moon Knight, then She-Hulk, then Miss Marvel, then Thor: Love and Thunder. Interesting. It's interesting that Thor: Love and Thunder kind of caps it right now. There must be something that happens to kind of cap it. It must be the fact that Thor get the hammer back and everything. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, there is a graphic. If you go to the link, there's an actual visual graphic that I think was cool. You can definitely check that out. Next up is some cool concept art from Thor: Love and Thunder. As you guys know, I was not a big fan of Thor: Love and Thunder, but this concept art looks really, really cool. You should check it out. It is where where Infinity kind of hangs out. No, Eternity. I'm sorry. So in Eternity's kind of hanging out, and it got a couple of different ways it could have looked. I think it looked pretty good. Not bad.
Are you going to rewatch?
Oh man, I've been debating this. My wife's friend just got COVID, so so we won't know if we have COVID until around tomorrow afternoon. So if we get COVID, I will watch this. I got COVID. I'll watch it. But if not, I'll probably not. I don't know. I didn't like this movie. Maybe if I watch it again, I'll like it better. One of the reasons why I didn't like Thor: Love and Thunder is that
could have just been in a bad mood.
Yeah, I think I kind of just want Natalie Portman to continue to be Thor. I was really ready for that to change to happen. Like, this is our new Thor, and they didn't, and it's not. So it kind of felt.
Natalie Portman ain't doing that.
What's taken?
Natalie Portman isn't going to do that.
Yeah, we already talked about that. She's not going to do it, which is a shame. She'd be great. She's such a great actor. That's it, though. That is all I have. That's the news you can't abuse. That is it. That is us.
How do people share this podcast with their friends?
The best way that I've found to share this with your friends is to write the URL code, the URL address on a piece of paper, and then give it to them.
Is that the best way?
No, it's the way I like to do it, but it's not very efficient. So I think the most efficient way, of course, is to go to whatever app you're looking at, and you have that little box with the arrow that points up. Click on that, and it shows you different ways to share this podcast, and you should share it in all ways, every single different way. Share it like that with all your friends and family, because She-Hulk's going to keep going. We're going to keep going. The Marvel stuff's not going to stop. We're not going to stop. So again, lots of different ways.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop. We could stop, but we're not going to stop. But lots of different ways to share with people, talk about with your friends, at the water cooler, at the bingo parlor, when you're picking up your kids from soccer practice, listen up and share it with your friends.
All right. I guess we'll see you next time.
Do you have the title for next week's episode? Not yet.
No, man. They just gave us the title for this one like a few minutes ago.
Next week, we're going to find out what happens when She-Hulk has to protect her name from someone also named She-Hulk. Tune in.